I did it for money.
Oh, so you weren't sitting on the stage with some sunglasses on with some champagne with a load of girls going,
No.
yeah, I'm
No.
a promoter. I own the
Yeah,
club.
no, definitely not. No, and you neither. If I remember right, no, you was more. You would rather be more on the ground floor with the doorman than you would as a promoter.
Only because I didn't want to be. I wanted to have my finger on the pulse.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be fucked up on drink.
Yeah.
Or distracted. I was just literally like you, get in there, do the thing. Everyone has a good night. Get your money and go. I didn't want to party. I always wanted to go to my own rave.
Yeah.
But when I got, obviously when you know what it's like when you get to a certain level, you then can't go to other people's raves.
No.
Because that fella, I don't know if you remember, in London, his name was Peter from La Cosa Nostra. It was like a garage event.
Right.
And obviously he used to like going out and he obviously upset a few people and he was outside the club and someone just done him, killed him, stabbed him to death outside the club. And that when that happened, that was my big wake up call for me, because people always used to go at me, oh, why don't you come to Notting Hill Carnival?
Right.
And I'm like, that's the fucking last place I want to be. I said, I'm putting on fucking 20 raves a month in Brixton, Stratford, fucking Hackney, Tottenham, you know, all up and down the country. And I'm doing garage events and drum bass events. So I'll probably upset loads and loads of people. I'm not going to go somewhere where they're all going to potentially be. They go, there's our friend over there. Do you remember?
Yeah. Well, this is what happened. We'll talk later about Lincoln. But with the only person I ever seen who did do that was Chris Griffin. I don't know if you remember him from Perception.
I used to work for him.
Yeah.
And Kian.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Rampton, Kian and them from Bristol and that. But Chris Griffin was the. I used to see him at the Eclipse regular. And I used to laugh because he was probably the biggest promoter at the in the country, and he was. Him and Fantasia.
Yeah.
And
he
would be in the middle of the dance floor raving his tits
He was
off.
crazy, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But I remember Chris, right? And I met him because he was doing an event. I think it was a World Party or Perception. It was one of them events. And
they were huge as well, Terry.
Massive.
They were 20,000
people.
30. Yeah, they were huge.
I was giving out flyers at the time. So I've looked, I had my name on the flyers as a ticket tout, right? So he calls me up and he goes, Terry, he goes, I want to meet you. He goes, you do all Surrey and Berkshire. I went, yeah. So I met with him and met Kian and they were like, you know, this is what we want to do. There's 100 tickets. When you sell them, come back. And I'd done 1,000 tickets for them, do you know what I mean? And they were like, oh, well, when we do the next one. So I become quite friendly with them. And then I sort of lost track of him. And I think he did God's Kitchen, didn't he?
He started it with, I forget the guy's name now. I was always amazed. But I never did it. When I had the clubs, I was there. And like I said, to coming back to that, whoever controls the drugs controls the club. But it was nothing to do with us. That's the God's gospel truth.
I mean, I had the same view because, like yourself, we didn't sell, we didn't have the bar, but we'd obviously make the money from the tickets and obviously the tapes. So for us, it was always like, you know, if you're earning that much money, why would you want to, you know, about doing something that could get you nicked? Or if somebody was in the club and took something and died, and it's connected to you, you're getting done for murder and fucking dealing drugs. So for me, I was literally zero tolerance. I mean, we had fucking metal detectors. We had almost strip search, shoes coming off, people grabbing older people coming in.
We did. We had the wands.
Yeah,
we were one of the first to get the wands. We had the airport security staff through there. We had everything. We used
do you know what I always just laugh at though? Like you go in there and everyone's be off their nut, and you'd be like, how the fuck are they getting it in here? Do you know what I mean?
I was going to mention that to you, like when we first linked back today, but I don't think you'll ever take that away from you. I don't think you will. I've seen you before with some of the others, and I'm not quite sure that they actually realise what you're actually capable of because you haven't done or been charged with anything. I don't think they do. Does that make sense to you? Right. I watch some of the others when I'm viewing it, and I think to myself, they don't really understand what he's all about. No, I don't. I think they see you in the films and they see everything else, but I don't think they know you from your past.
Well, you've known me for a long time. So.
Yeah, so I know what you're all about. I know if someone came in here now and was rude or whatever and put a challenge down, that you would be up for that challenge. I know that you would be, but you have to be quite professional whilst you're doing your podcast.
I would actually say, right, let's get a duel on. I'd get my fencing sorted
I
out.
remember Dave saying that.
And I'd say, on guard.
Do you know what? I always remember Dave Courtney saying that. No, I do, about the dueling. Can you remember it? And he was asked on some TV programme, and he said, listen, if you did duels now, he said, no matter what anyone said, millions of people would turn up and watch them because they're just fascinated by everything here. It was when he went to do the Trisha show, and I said to him, that's a really bad thing. And he went, no, me and,
Jenny.
Me and Jen are going to go and do it. And I used to get on well with Jen, and I did. So he's convinced. He said, no, I'm going to do it. I said, Sam, do me one favour then. Ask them then to, this is how long ago it was, fax over. Fax. Who's fax? So tell them to fax over the script. I said, because they don't just make these things up off the cuff. I said, she's going to have a script. She's going to have it in front of her about what she's going to ask you questions about. So let's see what they're going to ask you. And he went, no, we'll be all right. Now, I don't know the full true length of all the story, but what I was told was when they got there, they separated them both and they put Jenny one place and him the other place. They interviewed Jenny without him being there and said some really tragic things, then got him out, and then someone jumped up from the audience and said, how do you sleep at night, having admitted killing my husband? Now, I don't know how true or how good or wrong that was, but apparently that's what was said.
Wow.
Or how can you admit being involved in murders? How do you sleep at night? And Dave came back with some witty retort, quite easily, love. Something like that. Right. But I was trying to explain to him, you can't do that. In the real world, people don't mind if you're on the periphery or they think you might be bad or that. But most genuinely normal people, if you tell them you're ironing people out, so I don't want to know you. They don't.
You don't invite you over to the house for tea.
No, they don't. They don't want to have cosy, warm nights in, by the fire with you. They don't. So I was trying to say to him, no, listen, that part of your life's finished now. Now you're going to make loads of money now by being like this celeb gangster on the tour. And these people are just going to keep coming. Generations are going to come. And as long as you can keep walking about with your cigar and your brandy and telling them how you got fitted up with Charlie Cray and all this stuff and all these stories about the Chinese chefs and you chop their hands off. I said, people love it all. They love all that shit there. Tell people you're ironing people out. No, you're a bad bastard. People don't want to know. And they don't, even in the real world. Yeah. People don't want to know. So I said to him, listen, the best thing for us to do is you just carry on, which was a shame, really, because I genuinely believed he could have made a great living out of like that. Because the one thing about him was...
He was funny, wasn't he?
Oh, he was an orator. He was really, really, and he could switch really quick, really quick. So, yeah, I must admit, I do miss him, but I do definitely say that incident with the money...
Right.
I think that, I don't know how or why, because it got handed in at court, which was just tragic. Why would you do that? And I don't know. Maybe it's I'm looking into something and it's too bad of a coincidence. But I got a load of eyes on me then. I can remember speaking to you about something, and you said something very similar, that you was going along quite nicely. You was doing everything. You was doing the books. You was doing all this. Then all of a sudden there was a photo in the Standard, and all of a sudden you had revenue, you had police, you had all these people now on your case, and we don't want it, so be honest.
The thing for me was he sent me a copy of his book, and in his book he made some put some stories in that weren't true. I think a lot of it wasn't true, but he sent it to me. He goes, I'll put you in my book. He used to call me Boise. I'll put you in my book, boys, blah blah. And I've read it, and I've rung him up. I said, Dave, this isn't really on, mate. And he was like, what do you mean? I said, you can't say that I'm doing these things. I said, I've got a fucking firearms license. I fucking pay my tax. I'm fucking straight. I'm not in your world, mate, right? Yeah. And he was like, oh, but it makes you look good and gives you a reputation. I said, I don't need a fucking reputation. I've already got a reputation, right? I don't need one where I'm going out on fucking drive-by shootings and doing all this other stuff for you. Right. And he was like, oh, whatever.
Now and this though, ladies and gentlemen, this is Terry that we're talking about from old.
And I then got tax investigation.
Yeah,
I got a VAT investigation. Yeah, I had all the all the questions were like, are you sure you haven't got a business partner? Are you are you positive?
I remember the exact same thing. He said to me, he said, yeah, but I've put you in the book. And I said, you can't put me in the book. He said, I have, but I'll put you into Coventry Stew. And I laughed because I am in his books in the Coventry Stew. And if I'd have done all those things that he said I'd done, I would have loved it. I know why he did it, because he had a load of sycophants out there who used to do bits and bits, and he would put them in and it would big them all up. I don't need, same as you, I don't want to be big, but he put in there, yeah, he come with us to the Craze funeral, and I did, and he'd done this and done that. But that is not that makes me laugh, because I always got on with Dave. We used to have a great, I genuinely thought he was really, really good.